Hi, everybody. My name is Alfie Whattam, and this is, of course, the Alfie Whattam Technology Podcast. This is episode 62. As always, we are sponsored by Alpha Technology Recruitment. If you're a software developer looking for your next opportunity, or if you're an engineering manager or in HR or a CTO and you're looking to hire the best engineers in the UK, then we love Alpha, spelled alfa.com, is the place where you need to go to get the talent that you need to grow your team and the opportunities that you need to grow your career. Today, I'm joined by a very special guest. Preeti, do you want to give us a little bit of a 30-second intro on yourself, please?
Yeah, sure, Alfie. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me.
No problem.
So as you know, my name is Preeti Thakur, and I'm working as a software engineering manager in the company called Smart Numbers. Smart Numbers is a telecommunication provider company, and we provide the products or the solutions around call rerouting and the fraud detection. So any call coming to the call centers, detecting them if they are real calls or they are fraud calls. And it is being used by many banks within UK. And only thing is, as a company, you might have not heard of the name of our company because most of our services are provided via BT, but in the background, it's actually Smart Numbers providing those services. So prior to working for Smart Numbers, I was working with MasterCard as a software engineering manager there as well. And before that, so actually I started my career as a database developer, and I did many roles before moving on to the manager and leadership role, which I am at now.
Awesome. Thank you for that. That's cool. And obviously some big brand names, MasterCard, Smart Numbers, that people, I'm sure know about MasterCard. At least that's a very popular company, right? So awesome. Well, good to have you on the show. Good to have you dissecting some of the tech news this week with me. So without further ado, we'll go straight into it. So first story today is all about Meta. Meta is putting its latest AI chatbot on the web for the public to talk to. So what could possibly go wrong? I can imagine many things already, but let's read ahead. So Meta's AI research labs have created a new state-of-the-art chatbot, and it's letting members of the public talk to the system in order to collect feedback on its capabilities. So the bot is called BlenderBot 3. It can be accessed through the web, only for residents in the USA though, at the moment, and it can engage in general chit chat, but also can answer questions like a digital assistant, from talking about healthy food recipes to finding child-friendly amenities in the city. So basically, it's designed to both shoot the breeze and answer questions like Google. When I sent you this article, Preeti, the other day, literally about an hour or two later, there was another article posted saying that it's already started to go a little bit haywire, and the chatbot has started to even talk about Mark Zuckerberg in a negative way, which is crazy to see it kind of already going out of control a little bit. But what do you think about chatbots? I mean, would you try talking to it?
So far I haven't got any experience of talking to chatbots. As you said, this one is only available in US at the moment. But as a concept, I feel it's a very interesting concept. But there is a long journey in front of it before it can be really useful and kind of replace a human being to chat with. So definitely AI needs to be evolving a lot before we can get the perfect solution. But as a conceptually, I feel it's a great idea. So at the moment, we have some chat boxes which are used mainly the task-based. So for example, you get a call in the beginning, it will ask you some questions before it will hand it over to the human being to actually do the task. So all that is, I feel, is easy enough. But when you completely want to replace a human being, then definitely it needs to be much more intelligent. But the use cases I can feel are very great could be in future when it is fully functional. For example, there are people who are alone. They are living on themselves. They want somebody to talk to. So why not just have a conversation with chatbots? So it's a great thing. For example, psychotherapy, that is something that can be very useful because usually people are not very open with talking to another human being because you need to build that confidence before somebody can talk their heart through. But if they know they are talking to a machine and machine is as good as a human being, then I think it can be a very useful thing. So it can do lots of great things when it is fully developed, and definitely that's the way to go. But I think there is a long journey ahead.
Do you think we will ever get to a point where you can't tell if you're talking to a chatbot or a human? Like, you can have the conversation. It's basically the Turing test, right? You can have that conversation, but you do not know if it's a human or a chatbot. Do you think that's going to become reality soon?
Uh, I feel may never be 100% ever, because when I'm talking about like one of the use cases I was thinking of, there are some emotion bits involved as well. So basically, definitely, it can dig the data very quickly and come up with the replies, which can be even quicker than a human being might give you the replies. But at the end, when it comes to somewhere where there is a little bit of emotional intelligence is needed, that's where I'm not too sure if we will ever achieve that.
It might be able to fake emotion in the respect that, so you mentioned about having conversations if you live alone with like an Alexa type device, for example. I think my Alexa just made a noise when I said that then, but there was an article a couple of months ago at the start of 2022 where Amazon soon will be able to make Alexas speak in different voices of people that you upload. And the actual title of the article was soon your Alexa will be able to speak in your dead loved one's voice, which is almost creepy. It's like an episode of Black Mirror. I'm not sure if you've seen that TV show, but if you've got a real life chatbot and it's like as good as almost a human and it's speaking in somebody's voice that you recognize, then that's pretty advanced, isn't it? That'll be quite wild.
Yeah, that's definitely that will be actually great. But yeah, I don't know how much a reality it's going to be, or how many years it's going to actually take to reach that
Maybe
level.
take a little bit of time, maybe. Yeah,
Yeah.
perhaps. Okay, cool. The next article that was in the news this week, slightly different. So Geek Plus raises another $100 million for its warehouse robots. So two things are for certain. Number one, there continues to be a lot of excitement around warehouse robots. And two, Geek Plus is extremely good at raising money based on that fact. The Beijing-based warehouse robotics firm just raised another 100 million in funding, labeled a Series E1. I haven't heard of an E1 before. That's crazy. They must have raised so much money. With participation from Intel, Capital, Vertex Growth, and another capital investment firm, which I won't try and pronounce the name of. I'll mess it up. But the last time that TechCrunch wrote about the company, it was still in the fairly early days of the pandemic, back in June 2020, when it had just raised a 200 million Series C round. Meanwhile, the company raised an undisclosed Series D last year, which in my experience means they went backwards in raising. They didn't want to declare it. But certainly there's no lack of investor interest in the firm at the moment, with the most recent round valuing the company at somewhere near like $2 billion. That's absolutely insane. I remember when this company was created not long ago. But Geek Plus, warehouse robots, do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing that we're getting robots to do the job of warehouse workers?
Yeah, so I feel definitely robotics is the in thing to go for future. And it's not just in warehouse, in every sector, actually. Like we have factories, warehouses, and robotics is giving you more efficiency. The work is of a better quality. And definitely, or if you think of the pandemic, for example, if we had fully automatic warehouses and factories, they would still be carrying on working in the pandemic when workers couldn't reach to work. So we wouldn't have so much of shortage of stuff which we had because of factories couldn't produce. So there are definitely lots of benefits, and going forward, it is the in thing to go for, especially in the Western countries like UK, USA. Labor is very expensive, and basically, if we can replace that labor cost with some machines, definitely it will reduce the cost and improve the efficiency. So that is one side of it. But on the other side, I feel when I think about certain countries like where the labor is not that expensive, for example, India, if I feel that the population is very high, labor is not that expensive, and I feel in those countries we should little bit hold back on going too much on robotics and replacing the human power with the machines, because over there, definitely you might get efficiency with robots, but at the same time, lots of people will be jobless, and then you will have more unemployment in the countries like that where labor is easily available, and definitely those people with high population, they need the jobs. Maybe we need to hold back. So I feel it depends on the economics of different countries. Some countries definitely it's the in thing to go for, but for some country, personally, I think they should hold back on it a little bit.
Yeah, it's a really difficult thing to juggle, right? You know, we want innovation, we want it better, faster, more efficient, but then at the same time we don't want people to be unemployed, obviously. I suppose by developing the robots, you know, it creates obviously jobs and opportunities for developers and other technology professionals. Then becomes the question, how do we train a bunch of people working in a warehouse to become software developers, right? That's a very difficult conversation to have. And obviously there's ways to do it, but it's not going to be an overnight fix. How long do you think it will be until robots are a part of everyday life, where you've got a robot drone delivering your pizza, where you've got a you know, a robot receptionist checking people into buildings? Do you think that's going to be in the next couple of years, or is that more of a long-term thing, do you think, Preeti?
So we have got some kind of robots and machines working in mostly any factory or any warehouse you will see. Maybe somewhere it's a small part of it, and it could be bigger robots might be working. Some machines are always working everywhere. But when we are thinking about, like, you know, drones delivering the pizzas and everything is done actually by the robots. When we go to the restaurant, it's not a waiter, it's a robot taking your order. Actually, it's happening a little bit. Some news I was looking, but not couple of years kind of thing. It is still, I think, a lot of development needs to happen, and the cost is at the moment is very high. It may not be easily available to everyone because of the cost as well. So not definitely in couple of years time. I feel it's like 10 to 20 years kind of thing.
Sure.
Maybe. Yeah.
If we merge the first story about chatbots with the second story about robotics, that's when it becomes really interesting. Because if you've got some, you know, a robot which looks like a human, it's got the right kind of you know, the skin, the fake skin, it looks real, and you can have a conversation with it like a chatbot when you can't tell if it's a human or not, then that creates a really interesting dilemma in the future, where we might have fake humans walking around, you know, and we don't know if they're real or not until you you know, peel off their face and see what's underneath. I mean, that'll be a quite a crazy world. But did you ever see that sort of thing happening?
Yeah, so there are some movies in that area as well, where you see that there are robots of that kind which you can't distinguish human. When we think that, I'm not sure how really it is possible. Maybe technology wise it is possible, but how ethical it is, then we need to consider that part as well. Because if you're talking to somebody thinking that that is a human, again I'm talking to the same thing, the psychological and emotional part. And if you engage with somebody who, without knowing that that is not a human, and you get emotional bonding there, or more psychological thinking there, and then you realize, oh, this is not a human being. So I think there's a lot of governance needed around it, and I think it's very difficult. Technology wise, maybe it is possible, but then when we come towards whether it is ethical, how much governance is needing around it, and all those kind of things, then it comes to lots of difficulties, I feel, in real world.
Yeah, I think the empathy, the emotion, the ability to feel gratitude, I mean, that's what makes us uniquely human, and that's what a robot obviously doesn't have. So it's yeah, it's an interesting point. Okay, final news story of today. We're in the wonderful world of blockchain, of crypto, of Bitcoin. A pretty heartbreaking story, to be honest, but missing hard drive could fund Newport crypto hub, possible silver lining. Almost 10 years ago, James Howells threw away a hard drive during a clear out, forgetting about the Bitcoin on it. Now the Bitcoin is worth an estimated £150 million or $184 million, and he is planning to spend millions digging up a Newport landfill in a bid to find the lost hard drive. This is not the first time I've heard a story like this. I've heard a few of these examples in the States as well. But if recovered, Mr. Howells said he would give 10% of the proceeds to turn the city into a cryptocurrency hub, which is great that it's giving back. But the council said that excavating the site could pose an ecological risk, so it's likely not to go ahead. He is an IT engineer. He accidentally threw away the hard drive in 2013 after mining 8,000 Bitcoins in the early stages of the currency's development. 8,000 Bitcoins is a lot of Bitcoin. Bitcoin fluctuates wildly in value. In 2021, January, his net worth was around 210 million, but with the big crash that came earlier this year, it's now significantly less. Obviously, a pretty heartbreaking story, really. I feel for the guy, really. But what are your thoughts on crypto?
Yeah, so first of all, about the story, definitely, I can definitely sympathize with James and his loss. But if I think about the councils or the government stance around this, if I go to a council and I say my grandfather has buried big treasure in this place years ago, and now I just got to know about it, would you remove all the landfills so that I can take out my treasure? Is it really possible? Do you think anybody would do it? Or
probably not.
Would you?
No.
Yeah, so probably not. So it's a similar thing. You have put something and buried inside your landfills, and now you're saying it's worth so much of money. So yeah, so it's a difficult thing to do, and then especially if it is going to cause all the harm to the environment by digging all that landfill. So is it really fair thing? So I don't think personally. Second is about the Bitcoins. Personally, I'm not a big fan of Bitcoins. Looking at how it is developed and how it is run, especially, there are big data centers which are needed to manage it, and the amount of electricity it consumes, which is a big question. As you know, at the moment, we are talking about all the energy prices going up. The electricity is so expensive. So suddenly you think your Bitcoin is now going to cost you 4 times because the energy prices are 4 times and you are already using. So we are trying to save energy in all the sectors, but on the other side, the Bitcoins are using more and more of that energy. So that's a big thing. I feel I'm not really big fan of Bitcoins. And another thing I feel, okay, fine, it's a blockchain. Because of that, it's very difficult to make any frauds. I can understand that you cannot remove the transactions and all those kind of things. But at the same time, it's not centralized. And because of not being centralized, it's very difficult to monitor and govern the whole system. So basically, like, our normal economic system, we have got Bank of England, which is monitoring the whole thing. But with Bitcoins, I don't know how possible it is going to be. And if in the blockchain, if you say one part of it is broken, how it is going to impact the whole worldwide economy. So it's very risky business. And if you look at the value of Bitcoin, it goes up and down so much. It feels like complete gamble. If I'm going into a casino and playing a gamble, it is as bad as investing into Bitcoin. So yeah, I know I'm quite being very negative about it, but personally, I'm not a big fan of Bitcoins. I never want to spend or invest into Bitcoins, really.
Sure. I think ultimately what's likely going to happen, and has already started happening, is you'll get more centralized cryptocurrencies where banks or governments will create their own version of a coin, which can be which is decentralized but not completely decentralized, and it can be managed from a particular place, which is interesting. I guess it just comes down to the concept of crypto is not just blockchain. Blockchain is so much more than that, and there's so many applications with blockchain, from smart contracts to tracking supply chain and authenticity of certificates and degrees and a whole host of applications, really. So blockchain itself has got massive potential, in my opinion. I think Bitcoin is very much kind of the early part of that journey. almost like the horse and cart before the car came, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. Blockchain on its own has got a lot of potential. I know that I was talking to somebody, a company who was using blockchain for in the medicine industry in America. So they were creating some application which can help how to track the medication given to different people. For example, in America, over here it's fine. All is NHS bound, so everything is centralized. Like in America, even the medical system is not centralized. So using the blockchain, it is possible to monitor what drugs or what is being prescribed to a patient if that patient goes to somebody else, and that without being centralized, still all the information is available. So yeah, definitely, blockchain on its own is a very good thing and have got a big potential. But I'm not too sure about the cryptocurrency or the Bitcoin on its own. As you said, if it is centralized, I wasn't aware of it, but if there is potential of getting it centralized. But another thing is fluctuation, the value fluctuation, that kind of in normal currency, none of the currency would fluctuate as much as Bitcoin does. So I think there you need some stability as well before people get confidence in using Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's still massively volatile, isn't it? Any cryptocurrency is crazily volatile right now. So that's definitely an interesting point. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Preeti, for coming on the podcast. It was awesome to get your perspective on a couple of stories that were happening in the world. It'd be good to get you back on in the future. It'd be awesome to touch base in a couple of months. But thank you everybody for watching episode 62. Make sure that you subscribe on Spotify for more episodes like this coming every single week. Thanks for your time. Thanks for the viewers, and see you next time.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alfie. Thank you for having me.
Imagine if you were able to hire the next Elon Musk. Or if you got a job at Facebook, back when it was just a startup. Well, these people and these opportunities, they are still out there, and we have access to them. Access to all of them. At Alpha Technology, we specialise in software development recruitment across London and the UK. From React to Java to C# and more. We represent the best front-end, back-end, and full-stack engineers on the market. This includes top developers from Meta, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google, and more. Our clients operate across AI, blockchain, VR, AR, fintech, edtech, health tech, and more. From startups to global enterprises and everything in between. But Alpha isn't just a recruitment agency. We are also a tech community. We host podcasts, run meetup events, and lead ED&I initiatives, supporting women in technology, BAME individuals, and the Tech for Good ecosystem. So, if you're a company looking to hire software engineers, or if you're a developer open to new opportunities yourself, then we are here to help. Alpha Technology. Recruiting for the future.